Alright, so we are going to be making a GFX. I've gotten this requested many times to make a background tutorial, and so here I am. What we're going to be starting with is a 1500 by 2000 layout pixels in Photoshop. We're going to start out with a white background, and first thing we're going to do is add our little avatars. So I'm going to be having that in the very background right there. We're going to drag and drop. Increase the size and press enter, and then last one, this one, we can add that there. You can organize them however you want. In order to change the size on some of these, you can press Ctrl T. And there we go. Let's move that a little there. So these are smart objects, so we're just gonna select those and press rasterize layers. You won't always have to do that. So we're gonna go on the back layer, the very bottom layer, and we're gonna press E on our keyboard and use our airbrush, 0 hardness. Size can vary, but make sure it's airbrush. Opacity, I put it on 45, and we're gonna start erasing. That way, these pop. Alright, then the next layer, I'm gonna add a little shading there. You can increase and decrease the size. There we go. And then we're gonna erase the bottom part because I don't like the lines showing. Right, there we go. Perfect. And the last one, we're gonna be doing that over here. There we go. So now that we have like a little glow in some areas, what we're going to be doing is working on the background. So first things first, we're going to add text. Text is very important because what you can do with the text is tell information, right? Here, 1 second. Let's move that a little to the side. Right there. Alignment is really needed for these things. It's like necessary. So make sure you have it well aligned before starting on anything else. We're gonna add text in the background right here saying game day. So press T on your keyboard and then game day. There we go. We're gonna increase the size here by pressing Ctrl T and making this big. Alright. Now, it won't look perfect at first, right? So we're gonna make that black for now. Again, it's not perfect. So we're gonna rasterize it by pressing right click and then rasterize. I'm gonna double click it and then add a stroke. For the stroke, make sure it's on the inside. Should be okay. Then again, rasterize it. Press W on your keyboard for wand tool and delete that. That way, you get this nice little effect. Because there's like black bits, you can always select those and delete them. There we go. It's gonna look completely white, but don't worry. Do not fret. We shall fix that. You can change the color to a nice red, or you can add a drop shadow in order to make it pop. Something like that could probably work. Or you can do both. Depends on how you feel. Then we're going to right click, rasterize layer. Next thing what we're going to do is duplicate that. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V. And we're going to align it and do it again. Alright. You have to make sure these are well aligned. There we go. For these little guys, This is the second one, so we're gonna turn the opacity down to like 50. And then this one to a nice 25. That way you get that nice little gradient effect. We're gonna merge those layers. Next thing, what we're gonna do is add a gradient. Again, I'm freestyling this, so it may or may not look good. Alright, so let's add a nice red. Press G on your keyboard. Make sure the gradient tool is on by pressing right click. And then shift on your keyboard and move it up. So we can probably do that. It's just a lot of fixing. Let's move the opacity up. Trying to see which one works. Ooh, wait, this one kind of looks good. Give it a second, give it a second. Trust the process. We're gonna make a new layer. Press M on our keyboard. And then drag and release. We're gonna press Control and backspace, but first make sure that this is white. So Control backspace. That way you have this little like border. What we can do with the little avatars is actually move them down a little to make sure they're aligned. If you don't like the color of that, you can always invert it, but I'm gonna check, you know, I'm gonna see if it works or not. So, next thing that we're gonna do is add logos down here. So, I have pre-saved the logos. We're gonna be using RowPro. Oh, okay, 1 second. I'm gonna be using RowPro as that's like one of the biggest, like, what's it called? Like, row sports communities? Like, they sponsor a lot. So we're gonna press Control T, shrink that. Put this at the very bottom. It may look a little funky right now, but we can right click. Oh, okay. Right click, rasterize layer, double click, drop shadow. It should add like a little, yeah, drop shadow. Right click again, rasterize layer. We have that added. Here, maybe if you don't like the text being red, you can change it to white. So color overlay to a white. But that's just personal preference. You can go over here for history to see which one you like more. I like it in red, personally. But, yeah. Another thing, we're gonna add another logo. This is just a personal logo preference. We're gonna right click, rasterize, making sure that there's a drop shadow. It may not look the best at some times, but it's fixable, you know? Again, if the white isn't looking good, change it to a black. So maybe, again, I'm freestyling this, so trust the process. Here, change the size a little. That gives it a nice little like glow effect, or a little. Here, let's try outer glow maybe. There we go. So now you have like a little neon sign. We're gonna right click, rasterize. And the next thing that we're gonna do is add the information that is needed. So let's say I don't know. Oh yeah, we're gonna be adding the X set here because that's a team name. I don't really know how to find the logo unless you Google it. Maybe? Okay, yeah, I found it. Perfect. Okay, let me save it real quick. Sorry if this tutorial takes a second. I haven't really done this in a while, so we're gonna drag that there. Shrink it. Okay. And then we're gonna remove the text that we don't need. Remove the logo. So M on your keyboard, Control T. Make sure to rasterize that. Control T and move that down here. If that's way too many logos, you can always move it on the other side. Okay. And then this, what we can do is move it up a little or down. There we go. There we go. We have that. What we're gonna add is M on your keyboard. Drag it like here. Wait, a little more. Make sure the black is at the bottom here. Control backspace. And you can align it a little to make it like that. We can use the eraser tool. There we go. Perfect. If it doesn't look good, you can always change it. You can also increase the size. There we go. You can merge it. Here, let's move that. There. Next thing that we're gonna do, add more information, so let me see. Let's put random information because this is not like pre-made or anything. So like I'm getting information out of like nowhere. So watch live on FS1. Maybe increase the size a little. Don't worry about that yet. Listen live on BYU radio. Align it. And then we're gonna move those all the way at the very top. Let's see. Making that white helps. Okay, sure. Why not? What I made is Control I on the background to change it from white to black. And then lowering the opacity of the gradient to like 75, maybe 65 if needed. We can maybe... Let me find something. There we go. Let's move that a little lower. Oh, okay. 1 second. Shrink that. Let's also shrink that. Okay. Okay, there we go. Shrink that a little, align it. And the next thing that we can do is probably add a text. So X set, right? Let's move that this way. This way. Again, no need to worry about this part. We can always erase that. There we go. There we go. You can always add that, maybe, and there we go. This is just little effects. This is more for information at the bottom. Maybe? Maybe. Let's find. Okay. On the layer. Control T, shrink. Let's align that. The alignment is all funky right now, but we should be able to fix that up in just a second. We're gonna add the logo down here at the bottom and put that all the way at the bottom. There we go. We're gonna rasterize that and use the eraser tool. We can always drop shadow. Alright, rasterize. Make it to a nice, maybe 35, maybe 45. So we have some sort of poster right now. Not the best, but let's merge this, or group it actually. Control J, turn this off, and then merge group. We're gonna press the little moon button, hue and saturation, and then press Alt on your keyboard to do a clipping mask. We're gonna turn the saturation up a little bit, and you can always change the hue. We're gonna group that. Maybe let's turn, where is it? Turn this up to a nice 50. Alright, we have this so far. Here, maybe something like that could work. I think this is good. What we're gonna be doing next is, wait, actually, okay. Give it a second, give it a second. Maybe. No, okay. Move that there. And we're gonna add an eye there. Watch. It's like a little divider. There we go. Perfect. So now that we have that, make sure that we have a free layer. And on Google, we're going to be searching up concrete or, I don't know, grunge texture PNG. With that, you can find some really good ones. So let's copy the image, drag it here, and align it. There we go. We're going to be playing with the blending modes, so probably like a nice multiply or like overlay. No. Something like this could work. Maybe toning it down with the opacity. 25. Grunge textures are really fun to play with, and I completely recommend. They're really popular too. Like, most people will ask for them when making a commission. You can always invert it. Press, like, I don't know. Okay, screen, turning that down to 25, maybe 45? No. 35 is fine. Next, what we're gonna do is select all of these, press G, or Control G, Control J again, merge group, press M on your keyboard, select it, and then Control C, Control V. This just makes it so that when you select it, it's not selecting the outer area. So we're just selecting that. We're gonna go to Filter, Camera Raw Filter, and we're gonna play around with the settings. The settings are really fun to play around with. It's how I make the design look good. Something like that. You can always change the exposure, contrast. Here. You can always add more texture, more clarity. Dehaze is really good. You can always change the vibrance and the saturation. There we go. Curves are really good. I just don't risk it sometimes. I usually put all of these on 15. Color mixer. This is just to change the hue and stuff. Again, I just play around with these, make sure it looks good. Something like that. Color grading, this one's really needed. So you can change like that color. So we're gonna go with a nice blue there. And shadows, we can make it a nice red or blue. Actually, blue would be really good for shadows, and for midtones, a nice red. Here, something like that. And the highlights, you can make it whatever color you want. I usually go with a nice yellowish tone. There we go. You can move around the blending. Change the balance. I'm gonna change the optics. Do not move the distortion unless you want it to like grow like that. Vignettes are really cool. I personally love playing around with the vignettes. Geometry, again, if you don't want it to move like that, just keep it at 0. Effects, I always put 15 for grain, and it adds a nice little grain texture to it. And then vignettes, you can add a little bit. Alright. You can always make it darker too. Calibration, this one doesn't really change much. So I'm not going to play around too much with it. There we go. That made the design looking from this to this. You can always change the opacity to 75 to balance it out. You can add your signature, but because this is just like a test, I'm not going to. I'm going to add a little border, so press Control J, Control T, shrink it, align it. We can blur this by going to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur to a nice, I don't know, 15. There we go. And then go over here to the moon, brightness and contrast, turn the brightness down, contrast up, or brightness up, depending on how you feel. And here we're going to add the drop shadow. So opacity. There we go. Now we have the official design. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and please subscribe. Thank you.